to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here. 444 through. Wait. Oh, turn.
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show.
Hi, James.
Hi, Kellee. Welcome home.
Thank you, honey.
Are you tired?
I'm not tired. No, but I slept in today. I did sleep in.
Because Kellee went to New York for the weekend?
First, I missed your party because you had a party.
I had a party with all.
How was your party?
It was fabulous. About a small party, but 8 to 10 people. All artists, believe it or not. So the different and one. Well, the story goes. There's a friend of mine who was a server. You know, Julie at the restaurant.
Yeah, sure do.
And Julie's been working there 26 years, and we became good friends. She's going to take care of Pearl while I'm on the cruise.
Perfect.
And she lives in this folks' place like 2 blocks from me, and they have a big yard, nice yard, and it's very much like mine, like the gardens. Yeah. They have different gardens and outdoor kitchen they have. And I went and visited, and they're just great people, Don and Steve. So I wanted them to see my garden, and that's how it works. And Julie's has a trailer on their place. And she built the deck around the trailer, and it's a whole situation.
And you told me it was really creative.
They're all creative, very, very creative. And Donna does love hearts. Like there's rocks that are shaped. She'll put love on it or peace, and they're big here in San Diego. Yeah. And I had them, and she said, "Oh, I make those are mine." I was like, "What?" So she created those. And then we have friends of theirs, Linda and her husband Michael, who are in their mid-70s, and you would not know it. You'd think they're in their 50s. Oh. And she's a principal. She was a principal and school teacher, and he was an attorney for people who needed help. A lot of people low income, and it was just great. We had just a great time sharing stories, and Donna made me a heart wreath out of succulents.
Oh, how beautiful.
Yeah. So it's just really, really nice.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we had a good time. And my friend of mine who has a restaurant here came and she said, "I'll cater it for you." It's like, really? So she gave some great lasagna and some chicken cutlets and
my
salads.
Favorite. Oh, my gosh. And Ron and George were there, you said.
And Ron and George were there for the cruise. Yes, very much so. And Dominic, you'll meet Dominic for the cruise.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm sorry I missed it.
It was fun. It was really fun. And it was a great time. So we're going to have a party midsummer in there, probably midsummer because we're all the summer birthdays. So, maybe you'll come out for that.
I will try to. I'll definitely come out to that one because I'm sorry I missed it.
No, Janelle Campbell is going to be on the cruise.
No, I didn't know that. Yay,
Janelle from Australia.
So, I'm so happy to know that.
Stay here early. We'll stay here at the house.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm going to come in a few days early. I'll stay with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, perfect.
Don't you love everybody how we make our plans while we're talking? This is our normal conversation, just for the record. Oh my gosh.
Happy President's Day. Thank you. And guess what? Kellee just told me something. It's also, Kellee.
Today is National Love Your Pet Day. Today is National Love Your Pet Day. And it actually means that you focus on giving your pets extra attention and you pamper your pets because they hold a special place in our hearts.
I can't give any more, Kellee.
You can't.
3 dogs today. I've been in daycare. I can't do it.
I know. You're probably wiped out. Oh, my God.
I must have had at least, I'd say, 40 different dogs today. And sometimes I just sit there and they all come over to me. And it's like the dog whisperer. I swear to you, I come in and I'll sit down. At one point, like 10 dogs all around me. Just sitting
you're the dog whisperer.
I'm the dog whisperer.
Well, they needed extra love, especially today. Yeah.
And they just lick my face. Like people are like, "Oh, these dogs are licking your face." I'm like, yeah, bring it on.
Well, I just came back from New York and I was so stunned, James, at all in the big city where they walk their dogs. Like everywhere they walk them and they clean them and they walk them and they clean them. In where you are, there's lots of parks and all that. But
the cities is a lot of cement.
It's a lot of cement.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
It's a lifestyle. I grew up in that. I grew up in the cement.
I thought about you this weekend. Yeah, it was.
Last time in New York, I was with you. Yes.
The last time I was in New York, I was with you.
And how was the Becco? How was that restaurant?
Becco's changed a little bit. I wouldn't say it's my favorite anymore. No, but there's some. It was good, but it wasn't my favorite anymore.
The Chelsea Market place.
Chelsea Market was incredible. It was incredible. But you know, the reason I was going to New York was actually to see Neil Diamond's play.
You got to
It's
tell
called,
me the story because
I'll tell you the story, everybody. I went to go see
the reason
Neil
why we're here.
Diamond's.
The reason why we're here. One of the reasons why we're here. Kellee,
Yeah,
would not be here if it wasn't for this story.
that's pretty true, actually, isn't it? Yeah. So how do I say this? Everybody knows, or people may not know, but my husband Don was with Neil Diamond for 35 years, and so when
And-
Neil retired of Parkinson's, we moved to the farm, and that's when James and I started basically doing this show.
Yeah.
But so I went to go see the play Beautiful Noise. Now it would have been something.
It's a play based upon Neil Diamond's life.
But yes, it's based on Neil's life as told through his music, as told to his therapist. And I'm allowed to
see.
Now I can say
Okay.
that I couldn't say this before, but it's actually written in the playbill, so I can actually say this now. But the therapist is actually based on my mother. The therapist, Neil, my mother was Neil's therapist.
Yeah.
And I can say that now because it's been written about. And so for me to see this play was phenomenal, because the first scene opens up and the curtains go up and you see two chairs and you see Neil sitting in one chair and the therapist sitting in the other chair. And you can't imagine. I mean, I was just kind of frozen in emotion when I saw that. I just couldn't breathe, even, because for me it was like feeling my mom for about a year, like for a couple of hours, I should say. It was like feeling that. So it was a really amazing experience for me, and I'm really grateful that I got to have the experience. So there you go. So that was my weekend, and then I was with my family while I was there, so that was fun. But it was something, James. Powerhouse moment.
Mother around you, I'm sure.
I could feel my mother the whole time, the entire time. And yeah, so it was very wonderful. Yes, it was really glorious and wonderful and very special. So that's where I was. That's why I couldn't go to the party. So that's where I was. Thank you, everybody. If you get a chance to go to New York, see it. It's really great.
And then you also spoke to Neil afterwards and told him.
I did. I told him how incredible it was, and
that
that my mom loved it. I know. Mom loved it. I know she did.
But you mentioned that, and what people think funny and interesting is that you didn't know this, that Neil and your mother wrote this before she passed.
Yeah, before she passed, they were writing it. I didn't know that.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. Yeah.
Be great.
So,
and how are the stars these days?
Well, let's chat about that. So tonight is a very special day, actually. Tonight is a new moon in Aquarius. I'm talking Vedic astrology, and it's conjunct Saturn, which means it's next to Saturn at the same degree. And the traditional ruler of Aquarius, Saturn, was the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So it's kind of interesting that we've got a new moon in Aquarius and that Saturn is also in Aquarius. So what's interesting about this new moon, so with the new moon, it's always a time to plant your seeds for the future. So we set our goals, we set our intentions. But this new moon is really special. And if you are a healer or a psychic or a medium or anybody in that profession or a doctor or a nurse or anything that does anything to do with healing, this is a really special moon, new moon for you, because it's in Vedic astrology. We talk about the nakshatras, which are the lunar mansions, and it's in Shatabisha. And you might say, what in the world is Kellee saying, Shatabisha? But Shatabisha means 100 healers. And so tonight is a great night to set your intentions for the future. It's a great time to begin a health regime. It's a great time if you are in any profession that has to do with healing. This is going to be a really productive time for you. So everybody should at least start a new health, start your life in a really healthy way tonight. Set the intention tonight.
Kellee, can I also throw in there, if it makes sense? I
Yes.
just got the impression to just, if you want healing, to go and receive healing, to lie down and let that moon energy just work through you and heal you, because
it's a great idea for that. Great idea. Perfect for that, because this is a really special one. It's just a special time. And it'll last for a couple of days. And then on February 22nd, the moon is going to be between what's called the Great Benefics. The Great Benefics means those are the planets Venus and Jupiter, which
That's
that means that something has a positive influence over it. And the moon's going to be between Venus and Jupiter.
When is that, Kellee?
This is February 22nd.
Okay.
And so that
that's for
it lasts for about a day or two.
Okay.
Because what it is, but that day particularly is really great for forward movement. So if you want to begin a new project, set your intention today, and then the next couple of days, really start that forward movement with it. It's great for new projects. It's great for communication, because this is such a rare time when it happens like this. It just brings goodness out.
Oh, good. Wow.
Yeah. And then the last thing I want to mention is, I know there's been so many, shootings and all kinds of, really rough things going on in the world. And I had forgotten to mention this, James, and I talked about this a while back, but Mars is still out of bounds. And when a planet is out of bounds, we can't see it on the ecliptical. It's just, you can't see it. And so it means that it's out of sight. And so when something's out of sight, you can't control any of that energy. So that's why I think a lot of these things, because people were asking me, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And it's out of bounds until May 5th. So it still brings a lot of, could bring fighting along the world and all that. But as far as individually, go out, set your intentions, and really work towards health and healing.
Yeah, I feel that on an intuitive level as well. For the past 2 or 3 days, I felt now is the time for healing, to bring the vibration of healing in. I'm feeling that frequency.
Yeah. Oh, James, Kim Ann says, James, you mentioned today about running your energy. Can you explain what that is and how to do it?
Quickly, yes, I will. That everything is energy, which means movement of molecules, electrons, the whole thing. But what happens basically is running your energy means to activate, if you will, and move out. So what I do is I move my energy. I become aware of grounding myself. So I ground myself in that. I imagine that like your feet are roots of a tree, go straight down to Mother Earth. And I realize that, top of the head, you go all the way up to the cosmic energy. We're not just, this is only 30% of the soul. 70% is outside the body. Been running energy. What we do is we bring up the earth energy to ground ourselves. We imagine that earth energy coming up our feet, our legs, all the way up to our heart chakra. So if any of you have been when little kids under leaves, buried in leaves in the fall, or in the sand, buried in the sand, that feeling of being covered over, right? Feeling grounded. And then at the same time, imagine this cosmic energy, which is light energy, Father Sky, coming into the top of the head, going around to the back and the neck, and coming through the throat, down to the heart, blending with the earth energy. So you have the sky energy, the earth energy, blending together, and then sending it forward out and like an arc back to the ground. So it's almost like just around the same time, down, up, and out all at the same time, running your energy. So you're cleansing and you're receiving and activating at the same time, like a water wheel, going in. So it's like
and
that.
you imagine that several times a day.
At least, yeah. I mean, you get used to it. Like I do it like at least 10 to 15 times a day without even thinking about it. I'm doing it. I did an elevator, in a car, at shopping center. I mean, and it really, for me and for all my students who've used it frequently, it changes their whole energy field. It changes everything inside and outside, because you're bringing in new energy. You're letting go of the old and letting go. And really, it really is helpful. I mean, in my school, the JP School of Mystical Arts, I have a psychic certification course, the beginning one, and that tells all about it. Talks all about the grounding and also running your energy, which is really important when you're around a lot of people too, at work.
Oh, absolutely. And I know
doing it, Kellee, without knowing about it. When I worked at Paramount Studios, doing that before I knew anything about the mediumship. I just started mediumship, and I think it was I was reading at the Bodhi Tree all these books about energy, and I naturally started doing that. And then I met a healer years later, and he told me about running my energy, and that's.
Isn't that interesting? You were already doing that. You were already headed in that direction.
Yeah.
Wow. People are asking about, before we get into our topic tonight, it's Carolyn Mumolo. They're asking who it was.
So Carolyn Mumolo. Yes, Carolyn Mumolo. I have her number right here.
Oh, good.
Carolyn Mumolo, I talked about just recently, just a half an hour ago on my 28 Days of Love. And there's her number. There is her number, Carolyn Mumolo. And I was talking about her friendship. And today's topic was friends. So Kellee, my other friend Kellee, is here in the room, and Caroline, my three close friends. And Carolyn Mumolo is an incredible card reader.
She's incredible.
Incredible. And
she told me things I just could not believe.
She recently told me something, and it happened 2 weeks later, exactly as she said it. And she couldn't tell me who the person was, but she described that person. I'm like, oh my God, almost down to T. So I was like, wow. So she's pretty amazing. And she's
Yeah.
regularly playing cards. And
Yeah.
someone said she does it over the phone. And someone said to her, well, how do you do it? I have to be in person with you sitting there. She goes, no. Well, how do you do it? She goes, I don't know. She goes, I don't know. Hard to speak to me. And that's a natural. That's a natural talent.
It's total natural.
You don't have to try. It just is. And that's
Right.
we'll talk about this tonight with claircognizance and so forth.
So, well, let's talk about with Carolyn. Would you say she's clairvoyant? Would you say she's?
I would say she's claircognizant and that she's clair-knowing.
Yeah.
Now, she's also clairvoyant. So she'll get glimpses. She'll get pictures of things and she'll see it, but not always clearly. She'll get an image, like she'll send me, there's a lady with brown hair, short brown hair, and really incredible green eyes. But she can't see the mouth. She couldn't see anything else. And similar to sometimes we get that.
Right. Oh, absolutely. It depends on, I guess, we'll talk about all the different clairs, but depending in real life, some of us don't either see things very well or we don't hear things very well. And that may not be our greatest clair.
There's some senses and some people that are stronger than others. And in Caroline, she's definitely claircognizance. It's a clair-knowingness.
Definitely.
How do you know? How do you know this? How do you know? She goes, the cards are telling me that. The cards are telling me. The cards don't lie, she said. The cards don't lie. But what are the cards? The cards are telling me that. And she'll say good, bad, or indifferent, boy. She will.
Flat out.
She's predicted stuff from my family. She's predicted stuff which are like, wow. She doesn't predict deaths, but she can predict sicknesses. She can predict business changes. She can predict moves. She can predict love life really well. She said to me, you're going to meet a guy. I said, oh, that's good. She goes, you're going to meet a man, but he's with somebody. He's with somebody, but he likes you, but you're going to meet him. 3 weeks later, I met this guy who's with somebody and he likes me. Down to like, wow. So, and we're friends, but it was like really interesting. She goes, but he does like you. You'll have a connection. And we have a kind of soul connection, I guess you'd say. But so there we are. So she's very good. So if you want a good reading from, I'd say psychic reading, card reading, regular cards, that's Caroline Lamello. And she's old fashioned in that. Sorry, I hope she's not watching. You have to send her a check. She doesn't have to do it. She does a check. She gets a check. She calls you back. And that's just the way she is.
So don't give up. Keep trying.
Very low priced. And I think she's way low priced.
Way underpriced.
But she won't take any more than that. So, and it's a natural for her family as she was a kid, ran her family, her auntie. They used to call her, not a freak when she was a kid, but she used to call her his names that, she knew things. She's very witchy.
Well,
so Kellee, what are your strongest senses?
Okay, so my strongest sense is clairaudient. And I'll tell you why. So clairaudient is clear hearing. So what happens to me is I'll hear something. I start hearing. I have a conversation with spirit. I start hearing. It's like I just hear it as if somebody's talking to me. Now,
subjectively or objectively?
Well, objectively.
Outside yourself.
Outside of myself. It's not me. It's objectively. Yeah. At first, it's a good question. At first, you start when you're getting into all of this.
I think it's subjectively.
You do.
But I think I've been with you where it's been mixture of subject and object with you. When I've been on stage with you.
That's
true. A little bit of both.
Well, we know each other so well.
Yeah, but most mediums are subjective. Clairaudient, or they'll use clairaudient is mostly subjective. Objectives, but I've been with you where you hear a voice right.
I hear a voice right then and there. I mean, I had a situation just recently where I was actually going to feed my dogs. It was early in the morning. I shared this with you, James. Yeah. I went to go feed my dogs. Normal morning, nothing special about this morning. I walked in, I got the food, and as I was about to put the food down, I heard. In my head, I heard a voice that said so-and-so was going to have cancer and you're going to have to help her and blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, the next day, I was stunned when I heard it. The next day, the phone rang and this person said to me, I have cancer. I need some help. I couldn't believe it because she's a young woman. It's something that I wasn't thinking about her. I'm not close to her. Just came up and out. So anyway, that's what happens to me, James. I'm more of that.
Differently. So I'm clairaudient as well. My clairaudience is, the way I can only describe it to people is thoughts that come into my head. Like I'm hearing someone speaking, but I'm hearing really quick words. And it'd be like a normal speech would hear, good morning, how are you? For me, it's so quick. Clara's like, how are you today? How are you today? Yeah. It's so fast.
Oh, you're okay. Okay.
Yeah. And in mine also, which mostly everybody and everyone on this, probably in this chat here in this room, is what we call clairsentient, which is clairsensing, sensing.
Clear sensing. Yeah. Really sensing.
So feeling something like when you walk to a room, you'll feel something, or you meet somebody, you'll feel a positive thing or a negative reaction. That's sentience. That's using your second, third, and fourth chakra. These are your emotional centers, and that's where your clairsentience is, right in these centers.
And that's where if you walk into a room, as you just said, and you could, I used to play a game with that. I'd walk into the room and know exactly what was going on with everybody. And in fact, to the point where I thought that everybody had that, and I think that they do, but they just either don't think about it. Because you can tell when you walk in a room, right? Can't you, James? I mean, immediately.
100%. 100%. Room, when I meet somebody, I can see them. Right. I know them right away, 1, 2, 3. Right, who they are, their energy, 1, 2, 3. I just know it. Right. And what happens is, and this is really something I think is true. This is a hypothetical, which I think is really true. I think as children are very open, and I think children learn to mistrust adults because this is how I think they first lesson. They see the adults for who they are. But the words that come out of the adult's mouth do not match the vibration of the energy that the child is seeing or knowing. Right. So the two don't match. And to me, I bet that's how they don't trust right away.
Right. And the first 2 years is called trust versus mistrust.
Oh,
so that's it. Exactly. Yeah.
It is. So a great exercise for clairsentience that I used in my classes. And I did it with Janelle Campbell, by the way, who did it.
Oh, yeah. I remember this. I was there.
No, this was in Dublin. This was in Ireland.
Oh, okay.
I blindfolded her. I put her at the front of the room, I blindfolded her. Then all the students are sitting down. And I said, now you're going to completely go where you feel you need to go to. And she brings her contact from the spirit world. And she goes right to where they lead. They're pushing her. And she ends up about 50, 60 people in the room. She goes right into the back of this girl standing right there. And it was the girl's mother, exactly. And spirit just because they gave her clairsentient. Her clairsentient is so strong that she sensed to turn right, turn left. And so all she could use was a clairsentience. She couldn't use any other skill. She was not allowed to use anything else, but she had to feel her way through. And she did an incredible job. And we all can do that. I really believe we all can do that. And I'm not talking about the mediumship necessarily, but psychic work, intuitive work, sensing. And your senses get heightened if you close one sense, another sense gets heightened.
Right.
That's what that exercise was about.
And there's actually a skill that you can do, James. There's an exercise that you can do for what you just said. And you can ask like a friend or a family member to show you a picture of someone that they know, but you've never met them. Yes. And you really look at the picture and you start to feel by observing all the aspects, and you try to focus on maybe the person's eyes, or you tune into their energy. And then you start asking yourself, were they happy? Are they relaxed? What is it? What are you feeling about this person? Can you trust this person? Interesting.
And it's a lot to do with the exercise psychometry exercise, where you hold
the
object of someone's, like a glass case, and you feel the emotional energy that's connected, not necessarily with the case, but where it has been, who has been its owner. And you might have to ask, who does this belong to? What do I feel emotionally from that person? Oh, did it go to several hands? You find, and it really does work. And you can hold it close to your solar plexus and get that sense. It really.
Well, you did this on one of the cruises, several of them, I think.
All of them, I do. I do the psychometry on all of them.
Yeah.
And then we don't use it, and then we have people holding each other's hands, and they pick up things. And,
right.
Yeah. So most is all clairsentient. All
of that is clairsentient.
Kellee, what about you have clairvoyance as well?
Oh yeah. Now, of course, I have clairvoyance, but I will tell you, it's not my. I mean, I think you and I are equal on the clairs, but. Because I have a thing, James, where I have trouble looking at somebody to see what they really look like. Like I actually really just see a soul. It's hard for me to remember what somebody looks like. Right. So as a clairvoyant, I'll get a picture in my head, or I'll get a symbol in my head, or I won't be necessarily be able to describe it to a T. Every once in a while I can, but mostly I'll get just an image, something quick. What about you?
Yeah, so clairvoyance for everybody is not only medium, it's psychic, of course, it's intuition. So it's another scale of intuition. So clairvoyance, I see quickly, and it's interesting because again, it depends on the intention behind it. So if I'm communicating with a spirit person or the spirit world, and they're giving me evidential information, I find that it's very easy for them, or for me to receive it if they show me in my head like an object or a room. For instance, and you've seen me do this, where I say, your mother's talking about the necklace that's upstairs in the bedroom. I don't know what the necklace is. Well, let me show you. And they bring to my mind a picture of the house or the apartment. I go up, you see me just go up the staircase, describing the carpet, describing the pictures on the wall, going to the second bedroom to the left. And they have, yes. And you go to the second drawer and you open, And sure enough, and they do that a lot. It's easier for me clairvoyance when I get pictures of things, of objects, I'd say, and things like, let's say, collected old cars or a postage stamps, whatever. I see those things quickly. They can give me that. If they want to show me themselves, I have a hard time. Like you, I have a hard time sometimes getting a picture of the person, not unless it's a characteristic that is really strong.
Gets it exactly.
Like a mustache, or
or big hair, or you know, or. But
what I do get better, Kelly, is my clairsentience thing kicks in. If the person was, and this is an interesting thing, because when the spirit comes through, for a medium, we're only talking mediumship, folks, or mediumistically. When a spirit comes through, if they have a large personality and a great sense of humor, like me, then I can get up easily. Yeah, same with you, right? Because if they can match the vibration of you, it's easier for you to read them, get them, describe them. Yeah,
right. Well, and also with clairvoyance, it's also looking at auras.
Yeah, so clairvoyance is looking for, and it's interesting.
And colors.
Yes, and it's also, for me, it's also what do you call it? Clairsentience mixed with clairvoyance. So when you like colors, I feel a color. I'll see a color, but I also feel the color. Very true. So, and there's a name for that, believe it or not. I just had it, but I don't remember it. But I don't think it's a real one. I looked it up as clairsentience or something. It's touching something. But I sense a color. I feel the color. I sense the color, feel it, and then see it. And it's so interesting because when you do healing work and you work with, let's say, with the auric fields and the realm, you'll see a color when you start, but then when you finish, you bring the energy in, you can sense how much the auric fields expand.
Yeah,
yes. And the color gets lighter.
Yes, yes.
That's so pretty true. Cool. Feeling color is cool too. And you can do that also by putting a blindfold on and going over different colors, and you'll feel the different frequencies of each color. That's a good one.
Right, right. Well, and if people want to, get, here it is. Here, James, she writes, what does it say? Synesthesia.
Yes, I guess that could be that. No, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Yes, I wrote it down, but.
Have you heard of, there's a couple of other ones. Have you heard of, which I thought was kind of fun, Clairaudience, which is clear smelling.
Yes, I do. I couldn't pronounce it. Aliens. A sense of smell. And I've had that. I'm really good with that. I'm very good with smell. I'm really good with smell. They'll give me perfumes. They'll give me aftershaves, cigar smell.
Yes, yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one, actually. I like that. Yeah. I like bouquets, roses, flowers. They give me a smell of perfume.
Right,
that's
right.
Evidence. What's your mother's favorite perfume? And
right. So true. One of the things that I wanted to mention too is when you're for clairaudient, I get a lot of this with people. People will say, I hear ringing in my ears, or I'm off on my ears or something. And often I feel it's their, spirit is working with them to open that up.
Same. Activating that channel. Yeah. Same.
Right.
It always happens when I have a lot of students in development and they'll get a lot of ringing or they get a lot of buzzing. And even
Buzzy.
Yeah. And even when you're sitting in a circle, you'll feel them manipulate the auric field and they'll stretch you up and they'll push you down and you'll feel it stretching out. The same thing they're working through. And I always remember the cartoon as a kid I know what a cartoon was, where they take the handkerchief and go in and out of the ears.
Yes.
Like that sort of thing. It's like, feels like that. And it's also clairvoyance. They'll show you colors. They'll show you, they work with shapes. They'll open up that vision. Remember, it's all about expanding. So they'll expand.
Oh, and that's another thing that you said, that they'll also you'll start seeing geometrical shapes. Now, this did not happen to me, but it does happen to so many people. Did that happen to you where you start seeing geometrical things?
Yes, but the first thing I remember, really remember, which was really quite evident when I was first started the development circle, it was really interesting. I was aware, and it was also a sense of knowingness. Okay. I was aware that I was looking up, and I wasn't looking, but I was aware of looking up. And I remember it was like a whole forest. And then all of a sudden, I was up on the other side of that, looking down at the forest, and there was a tree, but it was a whole forest. And I was like flipped over the other side. And that was when I was just developing. It was almost like this wide range of everything. Wow. Like an expansion. And that's what I was aware of, very much so. And it was also a feeling I was getting, this expansion. Yeah. And that's what happened in development. When you sit in a circle, you get those sensing of development, of expanding, contracting. That happens quite a bit.
Well, and as you're developing as a medium, you'll maybe one thing starts more. Maybe the clairaudient starts more, or maybe their clairvoyance, or often I find with most people, it's the clairsentient, the feeling of knowing, the sensing of. I mean, would you say that that's your using your gut?
Yeah, let's go with your gut. That's using your gut.
Mm-hmm.
That's using that. Yep. And the let's see. So clairvoyance is here, the pineal gland right here in the third eye.
Yeah.
Clairaudience uses the throat chakra. So that's the throat chakra being activated. So many times when you find when you're working with people and they weren't able to speak their voice, they wouldn't let them speak the voice. When you work with them in a development lesson or a school or a class, and you work with them for a couple of days and you open up that center and you do some mediumistic exercises, they're pretty incredible when they start hearing because they open that up. And they've held that back for all that time. So when you open up those channels, it just pours out, waiting to pour out. And then there's the one Clairaugustance, right? Which is Clair.
Yes. Have you ever had that?
I have had that.
Yeah.
I've had that. I had a taste of sauerkraut once in my life. Yes, my father used to love hot dogs and sauerkraut. And my mother used to make them sauerkraut on Wednesday evenings for dinner. Like,
okay, that's a funny one. That's a very funny one.
Sauerkraut. Yep,
wow.
Sauerkraut. Yep.
Well, when I started, I would start, if somebody came in the room and I'd say, "Oh, did you just have Mexican food?" And they would say, "Well, I had it yesterday." And I would, "Oh, did you have this?" "Oh, no, I'm craving a hamburger." I mean, I really had to go through a lot of hoops to get to where I am with this. Yeah. But the tasting one was an odd one.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Augustus. And, the thing with that was what I would get a lot, Kelly, and not as much as I used to, but a medical condition. So when someone passes away or they're in chemicals like heavy chemo or
yes.
I get a metal taste in my mouth, like, whoa, it tastes like metal. And I get that quite a bit for the evidential. Yeah.
Well, you know what they say about that too, that if you're a psychic medium working for people that have been, say, murdered or any of that, like poisoned, that sometimes a psychic can pick that up or a medium can pick that up from the Claire tasting.
Augustus.
Clairaugustance, yeah.
And now another one I used to get, which I haven't gotten in a while because I stopped doing private readings a long time ago, but I remember very clearly when I'd get a gunshot and I'd get a piercing hot sensation. So that's feeling, right? And then I'd feel it, but I really feel like it was a sensation, tactile, tactile. I'm sure that you feel it and you sense it, and it was a burning sensation, whether it's in the chest or in the head. I'd have that. And sometimes I would get a sense of, if there was like a hanging, I'd get it around my neck. I'd feel a choking sensation.
Now, would that be clairvoyant?
No, that would be clairsentience. I'd feel it. I'd
feel it. Okay.
Or That's something called clairtactics or clairtactical. So it's feeling, touching something.
Yeah.
But that's the sense that feeling that. But at the same time, that spirit showed me. So sometimes and many times the spirit will send you a message in multi senses. So it'll be clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient all at the same time.
Yeah.
So you figure as a medium, you got to go figure this whole thing out. Right. There are some spirits that really use one and they'll do really, really well.
Right. But
most of the time, good 90% of the time, they don't know how to communicate. Just like we don't know how to receive communication, most of us, right? They don't know necessarily how to use those to send it to the medium, or in that case.
But I always feel that they're working on the other side. They're coming to watch how I work, or watch how you work, or observe how another person works.
They do that all the time. So I remember I was doing a demonstration many years ago, and I was aware of the audience there in the theater. And above them was like all these beings of white, looked like a choir, white light. There were all these white shrouds. And there was all these beings. And my guides were behind me, and the different guides I had that night. It's funny because the guides that I had that night are different depending upon the audience members, which I thought was fascinating. Yeah. And the type of messages that were going to come through.
Wow.
The types of guides that I'm working with. Yeah. But this particular night, I said to my guides in my mind, I said, who are these beings? And they said, they have nothing to do for anyone here in the audience. They're here to observe. So at a later date, they will have the opportunity to learn how to do this and try it themselves. So we're merely just watching this for
just to see.
And they check out mediums. They check out, when we do reading, there are many beings around us who are just watching us, watching the process, so that at a future date, they'll have the opportunity perhaps to use that process. Another famous story, I call it a famous story, which I think it is, and I like it, because we never can remember what we get. But I've said this on the show before, but I want to say it again because it was a really good one. That I was reading a girl in the audience in the second row, and I remember it was our aunt that came through, and good communication started. And then I was aware clairvoyantly, by the way, I saw this man, spirit man, walk in the side of my eye, came in this way to the front, and he had his arms folded. And I just knew, claircognizant, that it was her father, the girl's father in the audience, this man was. And I said telepathically to him,
right.
this is your daughter. Do you want to communicate with her? And he said back telepathically to me, while I'm still communicating with the aunt. So you're juggling many things at once. He said, why would I believe in this? I didn't believe it in life. Why would I believe in it in death? Okay, so you keep your same mindset.
Right.
I said, okay, that's fine, but just come on and watch us do it. And just see what he goes. Yeah, I'll watch. I'm curious. He got closer and closer, and he was aware that the girl understood her aunt's message very, very clearly, and he was kind of like shocked. And he said to me at one point, "Can I give it a try?" I said, "Yes." And I said, "Your father's here." He goes, "Oh, I was hoping." I said, "He wants to give it a try." Well, he was able to tell her he loves her. He was never able to tell her.
Oh my God.
He had that opportunity to tell her he loves her. And he was sent there by the spirit world to have this opportunity. And he tried it and it changed up his mind. And he turned to me and he said, "Thank you for giving me my life back."
Oh my gosh.
Good one.
Really good one.
And, everybody, it's really important to note that when you sit to develop your senses in this way, you have to be patient. And you have to let the spirit world work with you. You can't push. You've got to let them. It's a process. It's a flower. You've got to really just let it process. Don't be in a rush.
Right.
You don't need the part of the development was the best part for me. I really mean that. In the development circle is some of the best experiences I ever had.
Well, was lucky. I got to sit in a development circle with you.
Okay.
So it was life-changing, really. And you have to do the work. You literally have to go into that space, James.
Yeah, you can't do a spiritual bypass.
Right.
Because the quality of your work.
You can't do. Yeah, there's no such a thing. You cannot do a spiritual bypass, period. You'll screw everything up, Patricia Stanko says, when you see spirits, do they appear as though they were alive?
Well, what do you think, Kellee?
Well, most of the time. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. So you got to remember a couple of things. I have fun stories. Sorry. No,
I'm glad.
That remember that the reason for mediumship is evidence of life after death. That's what it does. So what they will do is they will show themselves as you knew them. So if they came in very, very young, you couldn't recognize them. Well, what's the point? The point is that they will show themselves. They will present a picture, and they create a picture. They materialize in their minds. Remember, it's mind-to-mind communication. That's really what it is. The brain dies a physical death, but the mind is a part of the soul. So in their mind, they are able to create a picture of themselves, and they'll send it to the mind of the medium. And when I open the mind of the medium they'll get that and they'll give it to the participant. And they'll say, your mother had red hair and she had beautiful green eyes, hazel eyes. Yes, just because they're just telling you the picture that they're seeing. Now, this is another really interesting one. So they will appear to you. Usually they will go back to the prime of their life, but in a communication setting, they'll come back as evidence. Okay. So this is an interesting one. I did a reading for Kim Kardashian years ago, before Kim was Kim.
Before you had to sign the contract.
Before I signed the contract. It was when I first started being on Chelsea show, right? And she was an unknown pretty much, but she was friends with Chelsea. And I remember was sitting there on the couch, and it was in Marina Del Rey, and the makeup artist was next to me. And this girl, Kim, came in, and we had been there, but Kim then got up, and I didn't know who she was. And she goes, and I turned, and I've never said this, you know me. I said, "What a rear end. Oh my God. She has a gorgeous rear end." It was a natural, gorgeous, perfectly shaped rear end. And I said, the makeup artist, "That girl's it's a gay guy." I'm like, "What great." She goes, "No, just that's Kim Kardashian." "Who's that?" So that was that. Then I did the reading, and her father, who worked on the O.J. Simpson trial,
right? Yeah, Robert. Yeah.
Her father.
Wow.
And he showed me a gosh, it was I think it was a melanoma on his face. Oh. And she helped him. She either told him about it, helped him with it, and that was exactly right. And that's what he showed. So he showed me. The picture he showed me was that.
Oh my gosh. So he showed you the picture. So clairvoyantly you saw the picture.
Clairvoyantly, the condition that he showed me. So, and that happens all the time. If people have maybe of I don't know, certain operation, they might show you the scars, the tattoos. They show us some tattoos. They'll show us all evidential. You have your earrings. They'll show us the earrings. It all depends. It also depends on how the spirit wants to communicate. So some spirits are more clairvoyance, are able to be more effective that way, or clairsentience, or
clairaudient. Yeah.
they're a big talker in life, they'll be a big talker in
Be
death.
right.
They don't change, folks.
They do not change.
The biggest reaction I've received from the spirit world was before. The number one is, this is so natural. I can't believe I'm dead. This is so great, incredible. That's
Right. Right. Number one.
And the second is, am I really dead? It feels so wonderful.
Right. Right.
I
And then
felt
they'll say, the third thing is, I'm not dead.
I'm not dead. I'm not your mother.
My mother, I'm not dead.
I was on a plane.
It's such a fear of death.
I was on a plane from New York to come to LA.
It's true.
Tell them the story.
You
Kellee.
called me. My mom had just died. There's no way that you could have known because
was
you
in
were
the
on a plane. You were like at 30,000 feet, and I'm like in shock. My mom's dead. And then you called. And I couldn't even get the words out. And you said, I know Lou died. I know. She gets already wanted me to tell you she's not dead.
And she was like, boy, she's strong. I'm not dead. Tell her I'm not dead.
I think she was so happy to get there and then realize that she wasn't going to die. You know.
And we make such a big thing of death, and there's no reason.
Right?
No reason to. And yeah. So yeah, it's a pretty. People are pretty shocked when they pass out of the body, and they're like, wow. I'm alive. You know, being dead is living in a physical body. That's kind of death.
Right,
it's hard down here because this isn't our natural vibration. Right. You know, we're in this meat suit, which isn't natural.
I know. Meat suit. It's so true. So Sue Wells says, I can read people through their eyes. I can feel their pain. It's like I get into a trance and I don't understand why I can do these things. I think that if you're sensitive, you can.
What sense? It's a clairsentient.
Clairsentient, yeah.
You don't have to look in their eyes. You can just feel the energy of them.
Right. And Joan Walker says you feel the energy, exactly what you just said, and you could read their body language and expression. It's very true. You can feel the energy. I can walk in a room. I don't care what is going on. I will know exactly what's going on. I'll tell you, at the play, I could feel the energy in the audience. And even though I was having my own experience, I could still go to each person and figure out and tell them what was going on in their life. You know, that there's something so deep about being able to do that.
And then you, of course, got to boundaries.
Then you have to have boundaries.
Protecting yourself and be aware you can't jump into people's spaces. You could be observant of them, but you can't say something to them. And that many people are just starting to have that mistake.
Yes.
You protect people's boundaries. I mean, you might be very, very able to see and feel and everything, but you got to be very careful.
So you would be really careful. So Sarah Remke says, Kellee, has your Instagram been hacked? Probably, because I don't communicate with anybody. So yes, Sarah. So please, I'm sorry, honey. Sorry that happened.
I've been in Facebook jail for 3 years. I think I'm back now. I'm back now, obviously, but
yeah, that's true.
People try to hack you and use your name and become you. I've had more people saying they're me than even in my school. They opened up a new school with my mystical school. I'm like, what?
Oh, I saw that. I think they tried to friend me on that.
It's amazing. It's just
amazing
if people try. Yes, I guess.
All right. Okay, so let's say Karen Sweeney. James, you communicate with ones that have crossed over. How about earthbound spirits?
I speak to people every day here in the physical. We're the earthbound ones. We're the ones that are still bound on earth. I don't believe in earthbound spirits per se. I think that, and then my mind has changed over the years because, like, even suicide changed. Everything's changing because I'm learning and evolving. But Gordon Smith is a great medium from Scotland, and we did a show together. And he said, "We're the only ones that are earthbound. They're the ones that are home. We're the ones that are still on Earth." He goes, "You think someone wants to hang around this place after they leave the body? Why the hell would they want to?" Which I believe. I think we all. And I think the spirit will come to get us. I don't think we're here alone. They wait for us. They look forward to our reunion again. Now, I will say, my idea of earthbound is very much tied into that father I just spoke about, who came to me in the arms. I didn't believe in this in life. Why would I believe in it now? He had a mindset that he didn't necessarily believe he could do this. So that I could say would be earthbound. But I think the humans use that phrase too often, and too much goes into that. So I think the mindset can be affected. But I really do believe that those in the spirit world, there's so much love. It wouldn't let you suffer. So no, you're not going to be just wandering aimlessly through the sphere.
No. So here's a good question. This is from Bernadette Desir. She says, how do the clairs, the clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyant, impact those with mental health diagnosis? I have diagnosis. I was born open as a child. I find there's a lot of stigma when it comes to communicating with the spirit world. And on my birthday, I really started to experience more of the spirit world. So I can absolutely talk about this, because when I started seeing things, first of all, I've seen things since I was born. I mean, like you, James. I mean, I always saw things. I had a head injury. I tried to pretend it didn't exist, and then I had a head injury that I couldn't pretend anymore. It just existed. So when I was going through all of this, there was a time I saw so much. If you walked into a room, I would see your dead mother, your dead father, your spirit guide, angels, anybody around, because I didn't know how to control any of it.
No filter. There was nothing.
There was no filter. I mean, I was on the other side and here at the same time. And it was most people would have thought perhaps I was schizophrenic. And I wasn't sure if I was not schizophrenic. So fortunately, going back to my mom again, that's when I said to my mom, I might be schizophrenic, or I think I'm schizophrenic. And she said, "Oh no, Kellee, you're just having a anxiety attack. You're having a panic attack or something." But the truth is, I wasn't sure, but she knew I wasn't schizophrenic. So I had to really go back and develop it and develop it and develop it and get so strong with it within
yourself too.
Within myself. I had to go really strong within myself, because you taught me that. Really, James, it was you. I mean, I had to go in. I did some deep work to get there with all of it. And went back to school to get my degree, my master's in psychology, because I wanted to make sure that I can help people that have had that kind of opening where you're seeing things and you're not schizophrenic. You are literally seeing things now as clairvoyant. And it's a big deal. So, Bernadette, God bless you. Just keep, delving into it with yourself.
I just want to dovetail on that, Kellee, because it's really, really important that with a lot of people, I read some comments here that people feel, I'm just so open and people's energy attack me all the time. And I'm just so much energy of people's, I can't be I'm too sensitive, feel things all the time. That is your clue. That is your clue to go into your own self and build your own self up, to have a relationship with yourself. The stronger you are yourself, the stronger you know yourself, the stronger that won't attack you or attach. That is a cue, everybody who feel like that, to get know yourself stronger, get yourself stronger. Empowerment, self-empowerment. There's your cue. You need more sense of self. Your self, the strength of self needs to come out, because no one's there to attack you or hurt you. But I would say that's a sign to love yourself even more. And let that beacon of light. So there's nothing fearful or attack. You have that empathetic soul, but you have to now be responsible with that by using your own power to come out. So when whenever I hear that people say, "Oh, that energy is too much energy," you got to go within and you got to really build that up, that self-esteem.
You have to build your own strength up.
Have to. That's a really strong sign.
I mean, it's part of the growing of this. Oh. None of us can just jump over here. It's all part of it.
No, you just can't jump into it.
You just cannot jump into it. It doesn't work that way. I don't care how gifted you might be, and you might be. You still have to go in and just take your time through every aspect of it. So Michaela Wally says, what about the in-between when some souls get stuck? I understand they learn to evolve, become that they're not alive anymore, but would that be considered earthbound?
I don't know what stuck means.
I don't either.
I don't think that there isn't that. That's very much the human creates those movies and television shows about fear. I know because I did Ghost Whisperer and had producers that wanted to write about fear, and to make sure love was at the end of it, because it's all getting stuck. So I would say again, mindset. I think it's a mindset, but I don't think anyone gets stuck or you're wandering aimlessly in the spirit, in the realm after this world. I will say one thing to you, though, in that respect, that there are souls, and I just recently dealt with this, I dealt with it quite a bit, that don't realize they're passed out of the body because it's been just so natural. And they're like, am I really dead? Yes, you're really dead. I've had that happen many times where they're so confused because nothing happened. They expect the big thing to happen and the pain, and nothing that happens. And they don't know they feel so alive. So, well, you've passed out of the body. I feel just fine. You passed out of the body. It's that way. It's that way, folks.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Yanti. Okay, wait. Pat Lang says, so all these shows about contacting ghosts in places that are supposedly haunted, are they spirits visiting places they had a connection to when they were in this dimension, and it's not a haunting? So, James.
Well, I think that there's an emotional scar. Let's say it that way. That there's emotional
energy there, the trauma. Yeah,
it holds that trauma,
absolutely
at battlefields and many.
Yes,
when I was there at Ford Theater, I felt it. There's an emotional scar. And just think about it, all those minds, all those people that think they have a group experience, that trauma, if you will, that they're experiencing. When I was at Loretta Lynn's mansion, and I'll tell you something. I've been to haunted houses, but nothing like that. That was unbelievable. And I was with my friend Jordy, and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and Loretta Lynn was the best. She was just the best. And she said, "Oh no, they're up there. You'll see them, James. You just stay up. You'll stay up. You'll see them." And she went to her other house next door, and I stayed with my friend Jordy. And at 1 o'clock, and we're waiting, nothing's happening. 1 o'clock in the morning, 1:30, but suddenly like a show went on. I was like, "Whoa!" And we saw these nurses in Civil War outfits. In Civil War time, soldiers getting their legs cut off, white bowls of water with blood in it, and it was like a hospital setting. And this was a plantation house, I guess, the Civil War, and it was there. So what was that? Well, it's almost like a real. It repeats itself. It's like it's a trauma. It's staying.
It's like a trauma movie over and over and over.
Time, like you would say, that goes over and over again.
Yeah.
It repeats itself. Right?
Have you ever seen this? So, James, I was in New Orleans. I mean, many, many times, but this one particular time was so bizarre. I was at the special hotel, and I was just asleep, and the window all of a sudden just pops open, and this white energy just popped out, and I screamed, and happened several times, and I kept screaming. And anyway, the next morning when I talked to the concierge, I said, "What happened here?" Like, I know something happened. And she said, "Oh, honey, he's always in there. He's somebody that just loved this hotel. And he died in that room." And I said, what? And nobody told me?
Yeah. There's a place right here in San Diego, which is that big hotel across the bay.
The Coronado.
Coronado. So the first time I went to the Coronado Hotel, which was, I guess, built in the early 1900s, perhaps.
Yeah, probably.
Times, and all the stars go there, Marilyn Monroe, all the people from Hollywood go down there. I knew nothing about it. My nephew was visiting. This is years ago, and he was probably, 18, 19. I was like 40. So this wasn't how long it was, 20 years ago. And I walked to that lobby, and I clairvoyantly was aware of women and men in Victorian dress. I remember the whole lobby was packed. I'm like, what's going on? And it was packed, and it was a happy time. And it with these souls, a memory. It could be, places of memories. I guess we could say memories, and those memories seem very real. And if you're clairvoyant and the emotion is so strong, you pick up on those things. When we did the show Ghost Whisper, we had a lady by the name of Marianne Winkowski, who's we call her earthbound, but ghost. She could tell you if someone is stuck, per se, let's say a mindset, and she'd just be aware emotionally what happened at that time. And she could tell you just by looking at the space if someone was there or there was a memory of a time there. That does happen. There are memories, if you will. But that was pretty. Talk about haunted. That was pretty. Yeah. And when you feel it, boy, you feel it. You feel it.
Right. So Cindy Ballinger says, "I saw a ghost as a child walking down my hallway. It scared me enough that I shut off the gift. Now as an adult, I'd like to turn it back on. Any ideas of how to open my gift back up?"
Do you think it's gone anywhere?
Yeah, no. And that's the truth. I mean, fear will stop you in your tracks especially when you're young. I think that's what happened to me, Cindy.
Yeah. To me, it didn't do the opposite to me. I was a part of my natural everyday existence. I thought everybody could see spirit. I thought that was part of it. Everybody could see colors on people. And my mother said, "Listen," and I was saying my prayers with her at night, and we're kneeling down saying our prayers. And I said, "Mommy, who are those people at the end of the bed with the lights around them?" She goes, "Oh, they're God's angels. You see them too. I used to see them when I was a little girl. They'll always take care of you. You have nothing to fear." It's like, okay. And that was the way it was.
That was totally normal for you.
Totally normal. My mother used to see them all the time. My mother used to see them as well. My grandparents did. So you can sit in development, Cindy. You can easily open up. Again, my school, the JP School of Mystical Arts, I have courses on that. Basic beginning courses of opening up to mediumship. Mediumship 1 is a great beginning course where you'll feel you'll get a lot out of it. It's easy. It's an easy way to approach the subject in a loving way and in the right way. Nothing to be scared of. It's just the opposite. It's empowering.
And set your intentions to do this.
Set your intentions. Open up your soul. Be open to expansion. And realize, if you just realize, Cindy, and everybody, if just that thought that only 30% of the soul's here, 70% is outside. There's a lot more to explore and expand. By just having that mindset alone, it puts you in that space of opening.
Right. So here's a good question. Yanti says, "How about when we meditate, we can see images clearly?" Now, is that called clairvoyance? What would that be?
That'd be clairvoyance. So they're placing a space, they're placing a picture on the pituitary gland. They're able to do that because you're out of the way. In a meditative state, you're open. You're surrendering, if you will. So you're not crowding that space with your own thoughts, your own worries, so they're able to use that space. So that'd be clairvoyance. And a great one is when you're sitting in the stillness, and you close your eyes, you're sitting still. And one of the exercises I do with people, and I'll be doing this a lot in the cruise, a lot of these. We get so tired of them, but it's true. As I have the spirit come next to you, behind you, and you become one with the spirit, and they share the body with you, and you feel an immersion of them coming to you. You stand back, and they come forward, and it is such a great exercise. And it just
I've done that with you. It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
I felt my father so clearly when we did that.
Yeah, and you'll know you have their thoughts. So they place their thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
So you think like them. And I remember my mother came through, and I never knew in 40 years why she drank, and she came through in my mind, and she said, "I drank because I wasn't met emotionally by your father, so I had to, I just didn't." And I didn't know that. I took this exercise of the immersion exercise.
Wow,
for that
that's amazing.
Amazing. And when we open ourselves up to that expansion of knowing, the spirit world are always around helping us.
And let's talk about the cruise. So we're going to be doing the cruise.
We're doing the cruise August 19th or 18th to the 25th. And Kelly's going to be there. And
I am. It's going to be so great, everybody.
And the cabins are going fast because August is the most popular month of the year.
Yeah.
We have like 30 more spots open, and then that's it. Okay. So it's like 150 people. That's all I'm taking.
Oh my gosh. But it's such a great experience for everybody, because not only do you get to meet people of like minds, we have such a good time and we learn so much. And James is such a great teacher. It's really terrific.
Too. You have a relationship with yourself. It's like doing, my soul and I are going on this journey.
Yeah.
It's a journey for your soul, really. I mean, you go in these deep. It's so interesting because we go across water, deep levels, but then you go inside yourself. These deep levels of awareness and expansion. And this will be a different cruise than I've done before, because it'll all be me, and we'll bet the immersion of the spirit world with us.
It's going to be great. Great. It's going to be, I'm looking forward to it. And if anybody, we're out Saturday, surviving a narcissist and thriving from it. Thriving. Dr. Shirley Pellizzari and I are going to be teaching all about narcissism, the traits, how to survive them, what to do with them. And we'll talk about the different types of narcissists, because there's a whole different types of personality disorders that kind of fall into that. So we'll be talking, and we'll be giving real life examples. I'll also be addressing it from a spiritual standpoint too.
Oh, so, really?
Yes, because, people always want to know, like, I chose this father. Yes. Let me tell you what you're learning from that father. You're learning boundaries. You're learning all kinds of things. And then a lot of
take on mental illness too.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes they do. I mean, it's just another lens to show. And I'll be talking about why, the children that are caught between divorce. I mean, we're going to be talking a lot about this. So please join us. It's at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday, February 25th. And if you're not able to be there live, if you purchase it, we will be sending it to you in a day or two.
On my calendar, I got to admit it. I'm sorry, I have to admit it. I put on my calendar the seminar.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Room, so I just put nuts.
Okay. Good. It's going to be super. Anyway, okay. So got that. What else?
Yes, I have communicated with whales in Alaska. Actually, I have before another trip, but this is my 4th time to Alaska. And I communicated with dolphins too. And I did a cruise with dolphins. Dolphins in the water. We did a whole circle. I think you were on that one, Kellee?
I was not on that one.
And we did a whole circle in the water.
Oh, how
and
fun.
The dolphins, and we communicated, all of us with the dolphins in this circle. And the dolphins came up and went right in the middle, and they weren't trained dolphins. So it was pretty cool. We did that.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. We'll see what it's like on that cruise. We might be able to do that. We'll see. Recently on a cruise in Dana Point, there was a whale that gave birth to a calf.
I saw that. Isn't that amazing?
So the spirit world, they're in charge. They'll take care of us. I know that.
They sure will. It's going to be a great, great event. Let's see.
Yes, Margaret, you want to go dog sledding? Remember, you got to book up now. Remember, for the excursion, do it before you get on the ship. Yeah. By getting on a ship, and especially it's so popular, it won't be available. So do it now. Right. Before the trip.
Do it now. That's so true. And I did that before. It was so fun.
I got to do it this week. I got to do the excursions because we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it. I'm home all weekend. Well, thank you, James. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
See you next week.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.
Show.